Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Friday edition of Moohead Radio. I'm your host, the Big and Furry Bovine. For those people who are tuning in to hear a British nobleman host the show, go fuck yourself. This is not what this program is about.
What a turn of events.
I just wanted to point out to everybody out there in Moo Moo Land, if there was an expectation that this would become a couth show after the last one we did, you know, I've got two friends for you, okay? They both kind of look alike, don't they? All right.
Bloody hell.
Yep, we start with a bang. We start with a bang. It's Friday, and I'm trying to get my gander up because really nothing has happened. But the bottom line is something did happen since the last show. The Browns have announced their head coach, and I'm going to give you some insights into how this happened and what I like about it and what I don't like about it. We're also going to pick the NFL games this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Some good football games going on, even though they don't involve our beloved Cleveland Browns. And
next year.
And I'm very remiss to say that Steven is going to miss today's show. He's sick. He was been throwing up. I don't know if you know that, Brittany. Is there something that we should know? I mean, I don't mean this jokingly. Is he okay?
I don't know. I haven't talked to him. Earlier, he said he was going around 2:30. He said he was going to be on the show, so I don't know. I know he twisted
Surprise
his ankle
appearance
last
by
night,
Steven coming.
I don't know.
Yeah, oh, I hope he's all right because we don't like to see. Because usually the Ernest and Julio Gallo thing leaves your body very quickly, but this is way after that. And I hope that maybe a little virus, hopefully, and then he'll little stomach flu and he'll be okay. But we miss hearing from Steven on the program as much as I joke around and kid around. The bottom line is I know how hard fans can take losses because for 15 years I've been following the Cleveland Browns, who have lost in every conceivable manner. And if you haven't seen some of the archives of these programs after unbelievable losses, you know, whether it's somebody taking their helmet off, a guy kicking an 85-yard field goal with time running out, the Browns mysteriously fumbling a ball in the middle of an open field when they had an easy run for a touchdown, giving up last-minute, last-second touchdowns to lose games, missing tackles. I've seen it all. So, you know, Steven has to understand his team's winning at least, you know. The Browns for all these years, I don't know, it's been awful. It's just been awful. All right, so Freddie Kitchens named head coach. First, we're going to do this very quickly. We're going to go on my screen right to left. Rick, you like the Kitchens hire, yay or nay?
I'll go yay on that. The familiarity between him and Baker Mayfield hopefully will carry into next year. I'm just anxious to see what the rest of the staff is going to look like and if they're all going to, you know, all head in the same direction.
All right. And Derek, you like it or don't you?
Well, you know, I don't know if you've seen my video, but I love it. I said thank you to John Dorsey. I know this may seem a little early. I know I did say in one of the past Moohead Radio shows, if it was me, I'd have Williams one more year and Kitchens in the waiting. But, you know, Dorsey decided to take risks, which he has paid off on. You've seen that in the draft and with other things. You know, the argument of Freddie being not qualified is understandable. However, it takes a kitchen to have a baker to cook brownies. So there you go. Simple math.
Well, I'm hoping you didn't make that up and that you stole it. I'm just hoping
that. No, I made it up.
Oh, my God. Oh, okay. Did you ever see Robin Hood Men in Tights?
Who, me?
Yeah. I'll do a line from the movie so that you can understand. If we don't pay no tolls, we don't get no rolls. You see, I made that up.
Well, when your name's Moohead Radio, you got to be kind of funny, right?
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is people, you don't know how many, what's the Moohead thing all about? And it's like, forget it. You know, one person once asked me what it was about, and I said it was about barnyard animal oral copulation. And I think that pretty well terminated the conversation because, you know, do you really want to know? And actually, I said no. It was originally a gay men site called Moorhead Radio, and unfortunately,
that's what happens when you look up Moorhead Radio on YouTube. I don't know if you know this. Just like mine will come up Frisbee, Frisbee.
Right. Yours
will come up Moorhead.
That's right. I mean, and so everyone just assumed, that's a male porn site. I'm staying away from that. And it's like, okay. The barnyard animal oral copulation thing is altogether different. And I think that could be the basis of a very interesting program. But unfortunately, not today. And not any time that I am hosting the program. I want to say hi to people in the chat room. First of all, hello to Jake Miller. Hi, Daktar, Bronk, Ron Shane, and Mr. X. And who else?
Morgan Chase.
Jay Morgan, yes. Pat Segerson is back. It's nice to see the people coming back to watch the show, even though the Browns season is over. It's very heartening to me. And not a single one of them has asked for barnyard animal oral copulation. So I think right off the bat, I think we made the right choice as far as making Moohead Radio about sports. All right, next, Brian, you like the kitchens thing or nay? Nay, you see how I got that? I got that in there. Thank you.
Hey.
Yes, even though I'm the resident equine on the panel, no, I do like the especially compared to the other choices. I did not want any of the jackholes that are being floated around, especially Mike McCarthy or Bruce Arians. No.
Yeah, I mean,
Arians went to the bog.
We need to demarcate Northeast Ohio as no country for old men.
Yeah, exactly. And I understand the people. And I thought that Dorsey would go for somebody with experience, but he opted to go in a different direction. Me personally, I find the choice interesting for a number of reasons. One is I think it was somewhat illustrative of the fact that the group of people from the Adam Gazes on down and the Mike McCarthys and the people who had experience as head coaches just obviously were not that interesting to Dorsey. I think that McCarthy and the Browns and McCarthy lost interest in one another. And it'll tell you everything you need to know about Bruce Arians, which I was dead set against. And I think most of the people on our panel was also dead set against any Arian taking over a major post in the Cleveland Browns organization. Especially Sashi Brown would have been really pissed off, and Barry in the front office would have been really, really unhappy with an Arian.
To say nothing of Alonzo Highsmith.
That's exactly right. I mean, but the truth of the matter is that Arians proved to be as much of a bullshitter as Huey when he said, "Oh no, the Browns are the only team I'm interested in. I'm not going to come back into football for anyone else." And the second it doesn't go down, he's in Tampa. And something?
No
something I can tell you about Florida, folks. Well, there's a number of things I can tell you about Florida, but this is where
snakes.
This is where people retire. Okay. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, Florida, you don't want to know how old the state of Florida is? The state of Florida is so old. If you go to the Cheetah Lounge, is the place where they have nude dancers, the nude dancers at the Cheetah Lounge are all
from the 1950s.
Yeah. You got fucking pasties on. And I'll tell you something.
Is that Betty White? Oh my God, it's worse than I thought.
It's like fucking Golden Girls on trapezes. What the hell is that all about? It's like, it's old. And then the people in the audience, at the Cheetah Lounge, it's like you're not supposed to clap. You don't clap when somebody's done.
You're throwing your teeth.
No, you get the clap afterwards. You don't clap during. Okay.
Oh, I approve, Brian. I approve of that.
So at any rate,
actually, they banned the clapping because it kept turning the lights off.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
2-for-1 drink night with a showing of your AARP card.
Well, you know the worst part of the worst part of the
Jeez,
Cheetah Lounge. The worst part of the Cheetah Lounge is the people crawling on the floor looking for their teeth. This could go on. This could go on.
Or a hearing aid.
Yeah.
No, I think these are my teeth.
All right, here you go. How does a person in Florida pick their teeth?
I don't know.
Buy a box of chiclets? I don't know.
No, from from a catalog. Okay.
I just now got it.
Yeah, Brittany's like, where'd it go? Where'd it go? It just went by me. I don't know what happened. All right. At any rate, what's interesting to me about the selection of kitchens is that who was for it and who was against it. All reports about the Cleveland Browns search committee would suggest that nobody is saying what Haslam was interested in, but you can always tell what Haslam's interested in by what Scott DePodesta says. Because it's kind of like, you know, Wayman Flowers and Madam, okay? If you're too young, okay, Jeff Dunham, I'll try to make this contemporary.
Hey, my God.
Oh,
Bring it up to date.
Before you go too far off of Madam, there was one of the YouTubers that I follow had a really funny video about comparing Chuck and Nancy to Mr. Burns and Madam.
All right. Okay. Well, that was interesting. Thank you for interrupting me for that. I appreciate it. And no, I should have done it differently. Oh, thank you so much for interrupting. No, I'm not going to. No. See, I hold court before the program with the panel, and I lead them to believe that the program is going to be entirely different than it's going to be, and then it turns out to be just as filthy and vulgar as it's ever been.
What a swerve.
Jeff Dunham and Walter would be like, you know, Haslam.
That's my favorite character.
The only difference is that Haslam and DePodesta are both dummies. Thank you very much. But the two of them together are in agreement that they wanted Stefanski, right? They didn't want the king of manufactured homes, Freddie Kitchens. So it was left for the others to break the tie. And fortunately, Dorsey got his way, because what I want to know is why DePodesta is still here. I can't figure this one out, folks. I mean, well, technically, he wasn't a Huey guy. He's a Haslam guy.
Yeah,
he just got fired today, by the way.
Yeah, well, you know.
Sorry, Brian. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, go ahead, Brian.
I was just gonna say what you were saying, that he's a Jimmy guy, and so he's always going to be far more protected.
Yeah, I mean, and you can tell whatever he's in favor of, that's what, you know, Haslam wanted. And even Haslam's quote about this, about saying that, you know, this was Dorsey's decision. I mean, that is the kiss of death, because if it doesn't work, Jimmy can wash his hands of it. Said, I had nothing to do with it. Woo! 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 I didn't have nothing to do with that hire. Woo! Not to mention Hugh Jackson, but you know,
he'll still claim it when it works out, though.
When you don't send out the rebate checks, you know, deniability is always an important thing to start out with.
Well, part B of that story was that the tiebreaker was Baker Mayfield.
Well,
yeah.
You know, there were stories that were leaked that he FaceTimed during the process, and then that was retracted. And that I think that
it was a tie between Dorsey wanted Kitchens, DePodesta wanted the asshole from Minnesota, and Baker was the tiebreaker.
Well, what I tend to believe is that they're trying to keep Baker's name out of this, and Baker's people are saying, please keep our guy's name out of this. But he was happy that Kitchens was promoted to the head coaching position. The thing that's interesting now is what's going on beneath, as far as, you know, the clearing out of Greg Williams and the clearing out of almost all the assistant coaches, including the once and future fat offensive line coach, Bob Wiley, who really made a name for himself in Hard Knocks, which is interesting because, you know, Dee Haslam once starred in a movie called Hard Knockers, but that's been squelched, by the way. Thank God. My feeling is this. Wiley, I couldn't figure out. I thought Wiley would be back. And it's like, well, and why did the offensive line get better as the season progressed? I mean, and you can't just say Greg Robinson, because, you know, it's like, well, we got rid of Desmond Harrison and ... It's more than that, because it seems to me that the right side of the line was as porous as could be in the beginning of the year. Why did it get better? I mean, does Wiley get no credit for that? I want to ask you guys this. Why was Wiley let go? And we'll start with Rick again.
I had no idea. I thought, you know, as the season went on and the line got better, the sacks decreased and everything, I just thought, well, you know, Wiley seems to is starting to put it together. Let's hang on to him because he seems to be getting us in the right direction. You know, I don't know, you know, that broken ankle of his or something like that. They thought, oh my gosh, you know, he like that was going to scare him off or anything like that. But that was probably the biggest problem. I wish they'd have kept Wiley, and I'm glad they got rid of Famous Amos.
All right, Derek, were you surprised to see Bob Wiley gone?
Yeah, I was. You know, I think part of the reason why the line got better was because when you seen Baker take over, they started blocking better. I don't know if that was just me. But anyway, so you seen them start blocking better under Baker. So I do believe that was a key part of that. But as far as getting rid of him, I think they just got rid of him because they wanted to see who they can bring in better because this job looks more attractive.
All right. Brian, what do you think?
Well, I think his personality was starting to outshine the position.
So you think it was a personality issue?
Yeah, I think that at least from my 1,900-mile view, it looked like that Wiley was becoming much bigger star than even the guys he was coaching. I mean, he did that Christmas thing. They had the stuff. He was the star during the Hard Knocks deal. And so, you know, and then not knowing what's going to happen, you know, he's still in physical rehab over his ankle.
Right.
He's actually at where you're home doing it. He's at an actual facility having to do it.
Yeah. Here's my feeling. The more I thought about it, the season starts, our offensive line is bad. Our quarterback's bad, but the offensive line was terrible. I mean, it didn't even look like they knew what in the hell they were doing. And Bob Wiley was the coach, and he had all the preseason and everything else to get these guys ready. And in no way, shape, or form did these guys appear to be ready. Part of it was that, musical chairs was being played by Hugh Jackson with the front line, not telling Batonio that whether he was going to play his natural position or left tackle. And there were a lot of question marks going in. And then the surprise at the last minute that put Desmond Harrison on the field. And it didn't look good. And then all of a sudden, Baker Mayfield becomes the quarterback. And then by the end of the season, it's all these games and he's not being really sacked at all. And the one thing that I can say, I don't think Bob Wiley had anything to do with it, folks. I really don't. After thinking about this, I've come to the conclusion that if you call plays that the offense understands, knows how to run, then you're going to get better results. And, you know, this goes back to what I would say about Bill Belichick, which is probably the only good thing I would say about him, is that things that are tried and true work. And you just don't add to a body of work when what you have works. And, you know, football has always been about execution. And I'm not suggesting it's the same X and O game that Vince Lombardi talked about and drew up on blackboards with chalk. but execution still makes a difference. You miss a block, you get stopped in the backfield on a critical play. And, you know, and Nick Saban can tell you all about faking things and guys missing their blocks and all of that good stuff. I believe that when they started paring down the playbook, and when the now head coach, Freddie Kitchens, went to the players and said, okay, what plays are you guys comfortable with running? And they all got together and started talking about it. I think everybody understood their assignments. And once they understood their assignments and we started running plays that were and once Freddie was able to see, okay, this play and this play and this play, they're pointing out, then this play, and this play are very similar from the playbook, and we can use those because they'll have basically the same responsibilities, but we're going to get rid of this, this, and this, where people's responsibilities radically change. And I think with the calls changing, the play calling and the slicing down and paring down of that playbook, that the protection in the offensive line got better. I think also when you play Carlos Hyde instead of Nick Chubb, you're gonna get 3.5 yards a carry, and I think that if the hole is there and Carlos Hyde is still, you know, saying, "Hey, Mr. Dick Clark, I can give that a 7 and I can dance to it," he's going to be dancing around instead of hitting the fucking hole. And I think, hi to Michael Kelly, by the way, in the chat room. You know, honest to God, I think that the play calls and the paring down of the playbook made that offensive line look a whole lot better, because it wasn't that they were terrible players. It's that what was being asked of them, they were not suited to do. And once they started doing what was more in character, they started winning football games. It's one thing I can say about the Patriots. What they do well. And they don't start changing a bunch of things up. They stick with what works. And I really think that Freddie Kitchens probably got the head coaching job in Cleveland and earned the respect of Dorsey because he communicated with the players, he got the most out of the players, and that if he can continue to do that with other parts of our team, that it will be really that it bodes well for the future. But why deepen it? Go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry. I just want to give credit to Brian. This was a huge point for the last show. He's, like Brian said, he was using Todd Haley's playbook. So you've seen he was not limiting those players at all and letting them do what they wanted to do. And you've seen how successful that turned out. And I think that's why he got hired and why he jumped from running back to OC to, head coach.
I think another thing is, you know, a quarterback can make his line look worse. And I mean, a guy like Deshaun Kaiser, who would refuse to stay in the pocket, he would get out of the pocket too early. Tyrod Taylor is another example, would literally step into the line of the rush as opposed to away.
Baker can slip those rushes and sacks. He can get out of that and make plays, and that's what he does best. Buy
time. And, you know, and as the players get used to playing with him, they can kind of almost guess what he's going to do. And they can, you know, and we had fewer holds when he scrambled out of the pocket, which is a common problem. When a quarterback changes direction, they end up holding. We had less of that. So,
and he'll only get better from here. You know, he'll be able to, understand these plays even more, institute audibles and, connect with the players on the roster now better, in his next year. And he's only going to get better.
Yeah. I mean, it's there's so much going on in Cleveland. I mean, the defensive coordinator position is not going to be Vance Joseph, who's gone to Arizona to be with Brian. And I know Brian likes that hire. You got Van.
What about Kingsbury?
King Dingleberry?
Unbelievable. Yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of names. What is it? LaFleur?
Yeah.
I don't even know I don't know anything about
Jack
this.
LaFleur?
Yeah, I mean,
Guy
LaFleur. Yeah.
I thought it was Jacques that was the Montreal Canadiens captain.
No, it was Guy.
Guy
LaFleur. Yeah, and
They
Jacques
all look the same under that toque.
Jacques Cousteau, he was the guy who was in the big boat and took pictures of fish. There are a bunch of names, and I don't even know who these people are. And it's like, how did this guy jump up? Kingsbury's obviously just a joke, but who is the other one that was named a head coach? And it's like, I don't even know. Oh, the guy who retained Pettin in Green Bay was LaFleur, right?
That was LaFleur.
Okay, yeah.
In fact, Minnesota's the only team now that doesn't have a head coach in that division named Matt. You got Nagy in Chicago, LaFleur in Green Bay, and Patricia in Detroit. Come on, Minnesota, catch up.
It's appropriate. It's appropriate because all those teams get walked on during the season. So why not call their head coach Matt? Yeah, it works for me. I don't know. There was another name that became a head coach that I was like, I've never heard of this guy before. And, people it seemed that they were going away from the old boys network and trying something new. It'll be interesting. And these will be tomorrow's white men who will be fighting for head coaching jobs for the next 15 years in the NFL. But I love the comment by the Green Bay coach about Pettin. And it's like, oh, I'm really excited, that, what it will be like the second year in his system and this, and this. And I really wholly supported this. It's like, no. You're lucky to have the goddamn job. Somebody told you that Pettin was staying. Stop it already. It's like you got the job, but that doesn't mean you get to choose anybody. And
a lot of these hires make no sense at all.
If you believe that Freddie Kitchens is carte blanche to hire anyone he wants to, I'll believe that when I see strippers in the stadium from the Cheetah Lounge. I see how I bring everything back, and it becomes relevant within the conversation. Dorsey's making suggestions, and you can't let a guy who's never done a job before just select an entire staff. I mean, experience does count for something, and that's why we have an experienced general manager. And in Green Bay, they're not going to take things away from McCarthy, who's now out of football for the year, because the only job he wanted was the Jets job. And who got the Jets job? Who's the head coach of the Jets now?
Adam Gase. Moved from Miami to New York.
That's right. And he brought in Greg Williams.
Yep.
Yeah.
And now let me. I think I can do something for you now. I haven't done the New York guy lately. The New York guy is one of my favorite characters. He talks like this. He talks like this. He goes, hey, look, let me tell you something here. I got a fucking problem. I got a fucking problem with Adam Gase. But now this Greg Williams thing, what you're going to hear me saying during the course of the entire season is, what the fuck happened to tackling? Why aren't you grabbing guys and dragging them to the ground? And you're going to say, oh, I'm going to strip the football. Well, you want to strip right here in my trousers. Right here in my trousers, you can strip something. That's the New York guy. He's going to be in love with the Greg Williams defense. And you know what's amazing? All 11 jobs, and Greg jumped at the first one. God damn. Isn't that a coinky dink?
Hey, Moo, I have one comment.
Hey, Phil, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, buddy, I showed up late, sorry.
No, that's all right. You get to jump
Steven shows up at the end of the show half the time anyway.
Geez. I mean, this is my show. If you want to insult my panel, get your own. Get your own fucking panel right here. I got a panel here in my trousers. You can grab onto that, young man.
Hey, I'm subscribed to Brian, Steven, you, so I don't want to hear it.
So what the fuck does this mean? You're subscribed to more things than just Reader's Digest. Blow me. That's what I got to say about this, okay? New York guys don't put up with this shit. Every single year, I go to Madison Square Garden every single fucking year. And it's like draft time. It's draft time in New York. And you know what they do? I thought you went to
the retirement home.
No. Let me tell you something, young man. I go there to the Garden because it's the Mecca. It's the Mecca of NBA basketball. And Fuck this shit. Every single year, we have an opportunity to get some monster player who's going to be like the greatest guy in the world. And instead, we choose some guy from Divinity College of the Nazarene from somewhere in fucking Missouri. And I'm going,
are you white, Stephen A?
What in the fuck? It's like, are we trying to bring in priests? What in the fuck? I want basketball players. Then they start giving rosaries away at the games. It's like, fuck this shit. I don't want this shit. I want to see somebody who
Crumbling little kids at the concession stand. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
I'm sorry if I'm being blunt about this, Brittany. I'm very sorry. But you see, when you're a New York fan, you don't put up with this shit. And that's what I say about Greg Williams. You know, I got 11 job offers. Well, I got a 12th one for you. I'll just unzip myself, and you can go to work right now. Enough of this bullshit 11 jobs. He took a job with a team that has a guy with a mile-wide forehead as his quarterback. God, give me a fucking break, Sam Darnold. I mean, it's like, oh my God. It's like, you know what I call him? In the pass rush, he panics. I call him Donald Duck. See, you see that? See what I did there? I made a little joke.
He's got a Lego head.
Between that and Dick Vitale, these are the two most irritating voices I do, Brittany, by the way. There's the Dick Vitale voice is by far worse. You know, during basketball season, it's like every coach, no matter what team he coaches for, you know, you bring in some school like, let me tell you something about Chaminade. Chaminade in Hawaii, they beat Virginia 85 years ago. That's right, baby. I remember when Ralph Sampson was there. The guys over in Chaminade, they beat him. And you know why? I don't even remember why. I don't even know, baby. I got to get a TO. It's like, Jesus Christ almighty. Make it stop. All right. Phil, what do you want to say, Philip?
Damn, my blood.
Do you like the Kitchens hire?
My point was this: you throw all the offensive stuff out the window for a second, and you just think about stability and stabilizing the head coaching position. You stabilize the GM, and now you stabilize the quarterback, and now you stabilize the third component, which is the coach. And if the players love him, and I read online, he's got an edge more than people think when he coaches. Like he gets on people. So you're gonna have that.
He was under Nick Saban. I don't mean to interrupt you, but you learned that from Nick Saban too.
Right. So he's gonna have the edge that Greg brought. So just forget about the offense right now. I mean, that can always change. I think be about 40% of what we saw will be duplicated. But just from a leadership perspective, you got to stabilize the head coach. So
let me ask you guys this. I mean, now that Vance Joseph's off the table, Chuck Pagano, he's 58 years old, and everyone thinks he's older because the health problems that he went through. But here's a guy who has defensive credentials and head coaching experience. Is this a possibility to bring in, beside Freddie Kitchens, an older, more experienced fellow who might be able to assist as well?
I wouldn't be upset with it.
Anybody else on the panel have a point of view on this?
Well, he wouldn't be my first pick. I would still go out and try to get Todd Bowles. I think he can do more. Especially with the players that the Browns have and that they're going to accumulate.
And now I'm hearing Wilk's name, the former Arizona coach, as Brian throws up in his mouth.
Yeah, I would just add, look at the personalities of these guys. Like the Greg Williams, high ego, my way or the highway, crazy men. Look at McCarthy's gone, Williams is gone, Hugh is gone. Just look at the trend. It's all guys that can lead other men and not be a maniac.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I like the idea of having an established defensive coordinator, a guy with experience. That to me is a good thing to have, especially a guy who had some success as a head coach who can impart. He's like having a great assistant coach in the NBA who's had head coaching experience. He can lend a hand in certain situations. And Ace Whitaker's in the chat room saying, I deeply want Pagano if he took a step back and modernized his defense. He wants some freaky deaky nickel defenses, but I think it would be an interesting thing to look at. And I thought that Pagano they felt he was going to Arizona, and Vance Joseph got the job, correct? So is there any other word on Pagano right now where he might be headed?
I haven't heard anything. I did see where Vance Joseph was going to Arizona, though.
That's right. And I had heard that's where Pagano was supposed to go. That's what I had heard.
And Cincinnati has Zach Taylor for their head coach. He was a
That's it.
Quarterbacks coach from Los Angeles, and he used to be an offensive coordinator at the University of Cincinnati. So he probably has some ties along those lines. And I just saw where Hugh Jackson's out at Cincinnati, and somebody told him that Skyline Chili was hiring. So.
Ooh, boy, that's really racist. I'm sorry. I can't have that. That's like, no.
He could be the face of Milk Duds.
Yeah. I'll tell you, anything that happens to Hugh Jackson, I'll tell you another thing. Do the Browns play?
I just thought of that off the top of my mind.
Peanut M&M.
There you go.
Do the Browns play the Arizona Cardinals this year?
Hold on.
I don't think in 2018.
I know we got the Patriots and the Rams.
We're playing NFC West. I thought
we play at Arizona, at Denver, at New England, at the Jets, and at San Francisco.
Let me tell you something right now. When Baker Mayfield sees Cliff Kingsbury, right?
Oh, that's going to be a total beatdown.
All fucking. Baby, let me tell you, the General Bobby Knight once said to me, I remember the time I choked that kid at midcourt during practice.
I don't give a shit what's called from the sideline. He is going to fucking bomb the piss out of the Cardinals.
And he is going to, you thought you saw a stare down. Yeah, it's like, it's going to be here's my scholarship right
He's
here.
He's going to go for 86 points in that game.
Yeah.
Could we see Kyler Murray versus Baker Mayfield in that game?
No.
I don't think so either, but I don't know why it's been so rumored.
I don't think they're going to part with Rosen.
Yeah, Rosen had a tough year, and I will be the first to admit that I thought he was the best pure passer. He didn't play for a very good football team. Neither did Baker in the beginning of the year. But, Rosen only completed 55% of his passes and 14 touchdowns, but 12 picks. Not a good ratio there. Not great.
Is this
yardage.
Larry's last year?
More than likely. He hasn't I don't think he's officially made an announcement yet, but we'll probably wait till after the Super Bowl. And then but yeah, his house is still up for sale, and so
they got another good receiver though. I forget where he's from. I believe he's from, I want to say A&M. I don't remember his name. I don't know. Somebody will comment.
And I guess Mike Prefer is now the a special teams coordinator for the Browns. He came from Minnesota. I don't know anything about Minnesota's special teams. Tony the Calf might, but he might not either, because technically kickoffs, punts, he's busy fapping. So it's really kind of hard to say whether he really watches these games very closely. It's hard to watch, a football game when you're fapping and you're having trouble actually locating your dick. So this is, I know it's like, it's pretty bad when you're fapping with the tweezers,
Yeah, I don't have that problem.
No, well, of course. I mean, nobody suggested you did. In fact, you were way, 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 way overreactive to that. I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings, Derek. I'm sorry. It wasn't you weren't.
No, I'm just saying I've been waiting to get roasted, so I was just gonna throw it out there before you made that comment.
Okay. You were just tossing that out there for
there's
a bunch.
Toss it off for the ladies again.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not Steven. I don't know why.
And you know that Brittany's the only female representative. I don't see
Roxanne?
Yeah, Roxanne's dolls in here.
All of them are on my channel.
Oh, okay. Well, that explains it. Some women like less. I get it.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, you and LL
Sometimes
Cool
less
J.
is just less.
So, at any rate,
I didn't hear a word of that.
Yeah, you probably didn't want to. I don't know anything about Prefer. He was suspended for 3 games in 2014 after the Vikings punter Chris Cluey accused him of making homophobic remarks.
He was born in Cleveland, so I don't know if there's a tie in there or what. So,
yeah, Prefer denied Cluey's allegations.
You talking about J.J. Nelson?
Who's J.J. Nelson?
He's a receiver for the Cardinals.
Oh, I wouldn't.
I wasn't talking. I'll look it up. But anyway, I got breaking news here. Dolphins are wanting to hire or hope. This is breaking news from ESPN. Dolphins hope to hire Patriots linebackers coach Brian Flores or Flores, I have no clue, as their head coach. So,
who's this again?
The Patriots linebackers coach, and he's expected Miami, or that's who they want.
All right. Well, Flores was a name that was being kicked around by a lot of people, and again, we're seeing more of a trend of people bringing in different names this year. So it's all good.
Christian Kirk, that's who it was. The wide receiver for the Cardinals. I like him a lot. I had him on my fantasy team. He did pretty decent for me. Not that matters, but.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought it up. Then we have 4 games this weekend, and I wanted to ask who our illustrious panel, believes will win. We have the Colts and the Chiefs. This will be a real good football game. You got a Colts team who's just coming on like gangbusters, and then you have a Chiefs team that maybe staggered a little down the home stretch. And they got Mahomes, who's had this great year but never been in this place. You have the guy in Luck who's been there, done that, and against Mahomes. And, I am seeing a number, like Bleacher Report is saying, all 3 of BleacherReport.com's pick guys are picking the Colts to beat the Chiefs. Now, it's really interesting. So we'll start this way, and we'll go the opposite way this time. We'll start with Brian. Who's going to win this game? Are you going with the hot team or the team that had the better pedigree from early on?
I think the Dolts are going to win this one. I like their defense a lot better than I like the Chiefs, and I think they're going to be able to just slow down. They're going to be able to take away the running game and slow down the passing enough to let Luck destroy the Chiefs defense.
All right, Derek?
Yeah. I'm taking the Chiefs, and I understand all that. I understand the Colts are coming in hot, but it's at Arrowhead.
Coming in hot, baby.
I think what you're gonna see in this game is you're gonna see Luck kind of have the upper edge on most of this game, and you're gonna see Mahomes just kind of light it up and have an MVP performance there at the end to win this game. And I do think that I think Luck will have his way with this Chiefs defense. I don't think we'll be surprised with that, but I do think Mahomes is going to find a way to pull it out. As great as Andrew Luck is, and I know experience is what's going to, be beneficial in the playoffs, but I do think Mahomes is going to somehow pull this off.
All right, Philip, what do you think?
I like the Colts. Kansas City just doesn't play the same at home for some reason. And Andy Reid, you just never know in the playoffs. So I just like Andrew Luck. He's just playing so good right now.
All right, Rick?
I'm sort of leaning towards the Colts, too. I can't recall the last time when the Chiefs won a playoff game at home. I know, Mahomes will just throw it all over the place, but, the Chiefs should win, but I think the Colts will win.
And I'm going to make the ultimate bizarre pick in this game. I say the Chiefs are going to slaughter them. This is going to be one of the strangest things you've seen. I really believe that the Colts played their best game last week. when you hold Watson and the Texans to 7 points in a football game and shut down their running game and shut down their quarterback, you know, that's a great achievement. I don't see this happening in back-to-back situations. No matter how hot a team is, I think teams will return to form, and I believe that the Chiefs are going to get on them early and get on them often, and I think they're going to win this game by in excess of 15 points. So that is Mr. Moohead's crazy prediction for that one. The next game is let me. I want to get these in order. I guess we have the Dallas Cowboys. Is that right? Against the Los Angeles Rams. That's the second Saturday game. You know, this is another interesting one. You've got a Dallas team that came through with a quarterback who I still have questions about, Dak Prescott. And then you've got the Rams, who Goff hasn't looked as good in the last couple of weeks. So we'll start all over again with the panel. And this time we'll go back the other way, and we'll start with Rick. And who do you see in this one?
I'm sort of leaning towards the Rams, but I'm crossing my fingers and hope Gurley comes back and has a good game. He's been rested now for several weeks with his knee or ankle, whatever. But the defense for LA is going to have to stop Elliott. If they can stop Elliott and put everything on Prescott, it'll increase their chances. So I'm going to, just on the home team and like that, I'm going to pick the Rams over the Cowboys.
All right. And I think that's a fairly reasonable pick. And we'll go back to Philip now.
This is my blowout move. I think it's going to be the Rams. They just play so good at home. I love Aaron Donald. I'm not sold on the Dallas line without the center there. So I have Rams with the blowout.
All right. And Derek?
I'm going to take the Rams. I don't think it'll be a blowout. However, and this is why I do think the Rams will win. The Cowboys, the only way I see the Cowboys winning this game is by Zeke having a heck of a game, but I don't think they're going to feed him as much as they should. You know, obviously I've seen a lot of Zeke, and he's my favorite Buckeye player of all time, but I just don't think they're going to do the right thing and give him multiple carries. I think they're going to have too much faith in Dak, and I do think he's going to choke. It's at LA, if I'm not wrong. Is that right?
That's right.
At LA.
Okay. And then I know Goff has had a couple of down weeks, but I do believe, you know, even if he does have another down week, I do think the team's going to rise up around him, and I don't think the Cowboys are going to get any farther.
All right, Brian?
I'm actually liking the Cowboys in this one. The only thing that scares me is if they get down by 10 points to the Rams, that Garrett's gonna say, "Oh well, we can't run the ball anymore," and decide to throw it 95 times with Dak Prescott, and we've seen what happens with that.
Yeah, I'm picking the Rams because I hate Jerry Jones. He's a typical client at the Cheetah Lounge here in beautiful Sarasota, Florida, and he would
just keeps coming back to that, don't it?
Yeah, and he's one of the guys on his hands and knees trying to find his teeth. I really and Jason Garrett is a lousy coach, and I will still go down swinging, and I'll say that the Rams are going to win this game just because Dallas. I don't even think they deserve to be there. How do you like that, Dallas fan?
And still charging his drinks on Jimmy Johnson's tab.
Exactly. I mean, it's like, my goodness, the team hasn't been any good for a long, long time. Next, we have the Sunday game one, which is the Chargers at the Patriots. We'll start with Brian, going back the other way.
I like the Chargers on the road. I just have a feeling that they've got the defense, and Derwin James can actually do something to help against the run and against the pass. So I think they'll the way that they took apart Baltimore. I think they can stand toe to toe with New England.
All right. Now we'll go back the other way. And Derek?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Chargers. I don't like picking against Tom Brady because obviously he's proven that he can win the big one. I do think...
I thought you had the big one.
New subject.
All right.
We're on... So...
Wait, take off your hat again. He is the big one.
Yeah, well, Bosa's back. I can't remember when he came back, but I do think he's going to get pressure on Tom Brady. I just think the Chargers have to win this game. This is a must-win for Phillip Rivers. He's got to get a Super Bowl or get to a Super Bowl to cement his legacy. And I don't know. I just don't think this at all. But, don't pick against Tom Brady. That's what I'm told. So we'll see.
Philip?
I like the Patriots in a close one, even though I'm not sold by the Patriots defense or the offense other than Brady. Just give them a week and a half to prepare for one opponent. I mean, it's just a long time, and then the home field advantage. So Patriots in a close one.
All right, Rick?
I'd love to see the Chargers, but Patriots have a way of knowing how to win at home. And I'm just not sure about the health of Melvin Gordon as a running back for the Chargers. I can't see Rivers doing it all on his own. I'd love to see him win, but I think the Patriots own it in New England. So got to go with the Patriots.
And I do too. The problem with Phillip Rivers is that he is next to Jim Kelly, the guy who blames his teammates and whines and belly aches more than any quarterback I've ever seen in my life. And I just don't think that he could win a big game. And I don't think that the aura surrounding the Patriots are going to be the time for Phillip Rivers to rise to the occasion. And it's not that I'm that high on the Patriots. It's just that sometimes you just look at a fight between an old lion and a young lion, and sometimes you just say to yourself, I just have a feeling that the old lion is gonna rise to the occasion and get through, and I think that's exactly what's going to happen. Joining us late in the program is Tony the Calf, who I'm not. Yeah, and I guess he's driving in his car in the dark. You have your headlights on, for God's sakes?
I do, yes.
Okay, just wanted to.
My camera is off on purpose.
Oh, you're fapping behind the wheel. All right. It all makes sense now. You're never going to find your dick in the dark, young man. Believe me, it's hard enough in broad daylight. Okay, what do you have to say, Tony?
I think the Colts are going to win because there's supposed to be a fucking blizzard in Kansas City tomorrow.
Good.
Yeah, they're expecting like a foot of snow in Kansas City this weekend, Kansas City, St. Louis area.
Wow.
So that'll change the game big time. I think the Rams are going to throttle the Chargers.
Rams don't play the Chargers.
Play each other.
What was it?
It's a neat trick.
They're not the Rams. Cowboys. Sorry, Cowboys. Fucking.
Barry's not going to have you on his yacht now.
And are we on the next AFC game, or are we?
Yeah. We're on the fourth game now. Philadelphia and New Orleans. This is a real interesting one because can Nick Foles do it one more time? As I guess Britney Spears would say, or the New Orleans Saints, the off times also rans with the better record playing at home. We'll start with Tony the Calf on Philadelphia at New Orleans.
Is that defense good enough to stop Drew Brees from throwing 500 yards and 4 touchdowns? My guess is no. I do think Nick Foles, if he's the quarterback that can do it, he's the quarterback that's going to do it. But I don't see it happening. I think the Saints win by multiple touchdowns.
All right, Rick?
New Orleans is hard to beat at home. And I saw a picture. Nick Foles is on the cover of Sports Illustrated this week.
Ooh.
So the cover jinx is going to finish him. No, I like the Saints in this one.
All right, Philip.
Not the biggest Philly fan, so I'm just going to take the Saints.
All right, and Derek.
Well, I'll say this. Last week I made the mistake on my Snapchat. I put up 2 drives before he missed a field goal. I said there's no way the Eagles win this game, and you see what happened. But I do think that this so-called Foles magic runs out because I don't think there's any way that they pull it off in the Dome at the Saints. But, you know, if they do somehow win, I'm not picking them until they, you know, unless they win the Super Bowl again, I'm not picking them because I don't believe it. And, you know, if Nick Foles does somehow pull it off, Carson Wentz, goodbye.
All right, and Brian.
I really think that this is going to be New Orleans' year to go ahead and win it all. So I'm going to pick them to win, to actually snuff out the Eagles.
Well,
in a tight game.
You know, the thing is that Foles was horrible in the beginning of the year, and it would be hard for me to believe that he can keep up offensively. The Eagles are going to have to play a sensational defensive game against a team playing in their home dome, and that's going to be a tough thing to do. The track is fast. It's an ideal situation for Breeze. Foles is going to have to put up 30-plus points to win. I don't see it happening. I see the Saints winning this game and ending this kind of mini run of the Eagles. So there you have our input.
That's what this Eagles playoff run is. It's a tease.
Well, I think that they've done well to get this far based on where they started and with some of the adversity that they have faced. So, you know, I think like all things, it's, you know, it comes down to sometimes a better team's just going to win. So, you know, I thought that's really.
Wait, did Brittany get beat?
I'm sorry?
Did Brittany get beat?
Get what?
Beats. Headphones. Beats.
I thought you said she got assaulted by her boyfriend.
Yeah, I was going to say.
What the hell?
Yeah,
what are you insinuating at, Frisbee?
Yeah, she's dating Ray Rice. What would you expect? Yeah, she's got good headset just like I do, man. She's old school.
Brittany comment if they were Beats.
This is how we do it. Oh, I'm sorry.
Beats are the biggest waste of money of all time, though. $230 for a pair of headphones.
Well, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how much I paid for these, and I didn't pay that.
Aren't those skull candies, Mo?
Yeah, these are skull candies. Yeah. Yeah, and the only thing I can tell you is that if you look real close, the inside, you know, I've been wearing these for some time. It's starting to fray away on the padding on the inside. But other than that, I mean, they've held their shape pretty good. So if you get a number of viewers, say what?
How's that GoFundMe going?
Oh no!
Anybody start it?
No. I mean, because I'm going to go out and get something even uglier just to fucking piss you off next.
He's going to get some World War II bomber headphones.
All right, everybody. I got to get out of here at 7 o'clock. I wanted to point out that I had really good news at my physical therapy today, even though my knee hurts like hell after doing it. I wish they'd ease up a little bit because they're going a little bit hard. But before the workout, I had my knee flexion measured, and in the last week and a half, I have gained, and this is astounding, folks, 17 degrees of flex. I'm up to an 120 flex in my operated knee at the 5-week mark. To put it in perspective, what they tell you should be hoping and praying for is 115 at 6 weeks, and I'm at 120 right now. So let's just keep our fingers crossed that this recovery continues. And
back on the tennis court in no time.
Well, I mean, what I'm trying to do is just be functional, and 120 is actually considered the low end of normal functionality. And I'm going to wind up somewhere between 120 and 130, and more likely 125 area if I really keep working at it. And that would be a tremendous recovery considering the bad condition the leg was in. So,
hey, Mr. Moohead, I got some breaking news along with something else, but so this is saying Bleacher Report. It says the Browns are working on a deal to hire former Cardinals head coach Steve Wilks as the defensive coordinator.
Oh,
And then also,
couple that with the Preeper news, and oh Christ,
I don't feel well.
Enjoy Preeper, the fucking nuke the gays.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this and I'm going, God, me and Steven are going to be vomiting together. Turns out Brittany did write that he is suffering from a migraine headache because he waited too long to eat. And I think that might be the reason why we see Steven eating on the program. I didn't know that he had suffered from migraine headaches, but although it still doesn't explain the constant belching and things of that nature while he's eating, it at least does give some credence as to why he would be eating. But we all wish him the very best and hope that he gets well very soon. Guys, I got to get out of here, but thank you. Thanks.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I just want to say real quick, thanks to everybody who's supporting me, and go support Brian and Steven and everybody's channel. So I just want to say thanks for that.
Okay, the pointless plug on somebody else's podcast. Thank you for that, Derek. And everybody, I want everybody. It just wouldn't be a show without that, you know? Everybody, thanks a lot for tuning into this edition of Moohead Radio. I'm going to be watching the games this weekend, icing my knees and being a good cow. I hope everybody has a pleasant weekend. And if it's snowing in your part of the country, please stay indoors. I mean, don't fuck with this, because the bottom line is there is a major storm that's going across the upper Midwest and swooping down all the way into the Southeast eventually. And it's going to be a real killer. It's going to hit in South Carolina in the mountains where my other house is. So, I mean, this is the real deal. So be careful, stay inside, stay safe. And thanks again, Rick and Philip and Derek. Thank you. And Brian, thank you. And Brittany, always a pleasure to have you on the panel. And everybody, thanks. And I'll be back again on Monday to talk about how everything's gone down. We'll have a new defensive coordinator. It's going to be Steve Wilkes, it looks like. I don't know why nobody picked up Pagano. I wonder if Pagano changed his mind and decided not to get back into the fray. It is all possible. But we're going to find out more come Monday. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you again on Monday. Until then, hasta la vista, pasture heads. Good night.
Moo.